once again, good to see everyone here tonight. For those who are here with us, see everyone's smiling faces. We should all be happy. It's raining. 2 inches of rain in the last hour. That's pretty cool. See, as far as tonight's agenda goes, as always, we should be out here fairly early. Agenda. If you're not early in the agenda, I'm sorry for that, but someone has to go last, sir. We try to get to you as quickly as we can. Always sorry about the length of some discussions, but yet we want to make sure we thoroughly discuss everything as the people's business. So, that being said, I'd like to once again welcome everyone. If you have phones on you, we don't mind you having phones in the room, but if you could, maybe silence those phones. And if you need to make a call, talk to someone, please step out. For those willing and able to stand, at this time we always like to have our Pledge of Allegiance to our flag.
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hopefully everyone had a wonderful Independence Day last few days, weekend, and hopefully you ate some big burgers, Joe. Mayor Joe, cooking big burgers the last few days.
I cooked prime rib.
Rib, okay. Well, Joe's into prime rib, but hope everyone had a very nice weekend, few days off, and recognize the independence of our nation. At this time, I would call on Stephanie Cooper. She's our city clerk, and I would like to call on her to have a roll call so we can begin the meeting.
Jason. Bill.
Here.
Leslie. Elsie. Andrea. Here. Bill. Oh, I said Bill again, sorry. Debbie. Did I not call?
Me? Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trey.
Here.
Have you called everyone?
I think I did.
Okay. Stephanie has called all names. Looks like all are present tonight, so at this time I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. So we are now in session. You have before you an agenda that was sent to you on Thursday or Friday, maybe Friday morning of last week. Anyone having corrections or changes for the agenda to be approved by the council tonight?
Hi, Mayor. I had one thing. I noticed that Mr. Fromeyer is here today on this AM legal issue, and I saw the packet was in the information was in the packet, but I didn't see that on the agenda. So if we could maybe add that early in the agenda, that'd be great.
Okay, that's a recommendation made by Jason Taylor. I did not know anything about your appearance tonight, sir, till this morning, so that's probably the reason this person's was not named in the agenda that the council received, but that's quite okay with myself, Jason. So I think in talking to Councilor Craigmile today, he would like for this discussion based on resolutions, some different amendments to some things tonight, to be put in the area after item 13, and let him go along that place in the agenda if that'd be okay?
Sure.
So we have that, and then we have a resolution by the City of Grange approving the Utility Commission and things like that, and another introduction of ordinance. While we're talking about that subject matter, might be a good time for you to speak, sir, even though it could be about 11:30 tonight. So I think it'd be much sooner than that. So welcome tonight to the City of Grange. You ever been here before? Okay, well, welcome back. So is there any other corrections or additions to the agenda at this time by anyone that you'd like to add, insert, or change? If not, I'll entertain a motion that the agenda be approved with the corrections mentioned.
So moved.
So moved by Leslie Wright. Is there a second? Second by Debbie Pollard. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we have our minutes from our June 7th, 2021 meeting. You've had time maybe to look at those minutes in the last few days. Is there anyone wishing to make any changes, corrections, or comments about the minutes that you all received in your packets? June the 7th, 2021. Anyone?
Second.
Motion by Elsie Carter, second by Leslie Wright. Any discussion on the motion at this time for the council? If not, all in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, also tonight we have our payables. As always, we have a lengthy list of payables, so anyone welcome to look at those. I'll give you as much time as you need to look over all the payables and see perhaps if might have any questions for those.
Mayor, I do have two questions on two different items.
Sir.
Check number 744 to Gary Drexler for $7,627. What
Call on Corey Rusnick, who oversaw that issue with the sewer issues at LaGrange City Hall, and I know it was a difficult 2 or 3 days, and I'll let Corey explain that to the council tonight.
Ed, about 5 months ago, boring company came through, pulling the Verizon line. There's 3 fiber optic, 2 are empty, 1's full. They bored right through City Hall's sewer line, which was a big fiasco. We had no idea where the tap was. We never had an issue, so we had to find that. There was actually 2 taps on the property, so it was a long process. It was backed all the way up into the building. So
I guess for more clarification on that, I think all of you all saw the companies that are in here all over the city, and they were actually using a snake to actually, like a mole would run, but they would point in a direction, and this auger would go under the ground about 4 feet on average deep and just start auging till it got to another point, then it would surface again. And what Corey was talking about, Bill, when it came through City Hall, it basically drilled right through the sewer line, thus causing it to eventually back up and clog up and stop the whole building.
would we be reimbursed for that somehow?
boring company's going to pay for it.
They didn't call before you dig, did they?
Evidently not.
I think they did, matter of fact, but I don't think BUD picked up on a sewer line extension going from a building to the main sewer line.
Thank you. And then I do have a second question on check 774, Main Street lights for $18,381. What was that?
I expected that question, Bill, and certainly I even talked to Stephanie, Corey, and all of us about it today. In this budget we were just in and finished up, we had $10,000 of appropriation for East Main Street lighting, sidewalk work, and things like that to go into that block that we have since changed the zoning to. So I wanted to try to begin that project, and what part of that cost is 5 tall, nice-looking lampposts that will extend from the ale house corner across the street from ale house on through the next block, then maybe a so many feet into the second block from their bill. So that was part of the cost, and honestly, I've tried my best to find the lowest and best price for these type of lampposts, and even the ones we have on Main Street, over at LaGrange Park, and you name it, they're so expensive, but I was able to get 5 of those for that cost. And then we also had a project in the budget that we're in presently to try to improve from Adams Street, where Shannon's Barbecue was, on up into the city. and we bought 11 these lights, these Boyer type lights that Corey and I looked at, as well as John Stewart. So what my thoughts were to try to move those two projects along that were in this year's actual budget, a $20,000 appropriation in one, 10 in the other, giving us 30. Corey's been extremely busy, but to try to at least get the lighting packages bought, that's what those two purchases amounted to.
Thank you. That explains it. Thank you.
I've got one quick question. Check number 726 to Mutual of Omaha, and then check 761 to Mutual of Omaha. Why were there two checks for this month? Because there's usually only one.
Talked to Heather about that today, and I can't remember everything, but I think it was a check that was voided. Is that correct, Heather, on that particular issue? But please come forward. I'd like to get you on the microphone to make sure that it's picked up by the tape and everyone realized what took place. I can't recall. We went over all those payables, but there was two identically, and I even questioned that as well.
Was paying for Mutual was not one of the voided checks. Mutual was paying for, I'd received the invoice on the 30th or 28th and went ahead and paid it because it was for the 2021 fiscal year.
There was one dated 6/17 and then one dated 6/30. So it was just for the next fiscal year.
And paid it, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Heather, will you test that microphone?
It's on. You just have to get right up on it, okay?
Make it louder. Can you hear me now?
Okay, as I said, there's a lot of payables. Anyone else have any questions about anything that we've paid out in this pay period? None? None other? Is that it? At this time, I entertain a motion that the bills be paid as presented tonight.
I'll move.
A motion has been made by Leslie Wright. Would there be a second to that? Second by Andrew Essen Price. Any discussion on the motion before the council? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Okay, financial reports tonight on all of our financials. First, we will begin with our bank accounts. We always present all of our mini bank accounts and totals that we have to the city council. So does anyone, as always, have, once again, any questions about any accounts that we have within the city operation? Anyone? It's basically running about true the same about amounts each and every month. So I'm very much aware of what these counts are. I try to watch them daily as to what they're doing or not doing. And Stephanie and Heather know I'm constantly asking them about these accounts and where we are in each one of them. Anytime anybody's ready to make a motion, I will entertain it whenever you feel like you're ready. On the, let's go ahead and do our next page on our 2021 revenues, the City of LaGrange title. That's on all of our expenditures to date.
I have a quick question on the accounts. Citizens Union Bank open new account. Is that for the bond for the park? It says there's a new account that was open, $2,106,447.64.
That's not specifically for the park, Andrea. I guess a year and a half or so, I asked Stephanie to place $2 million with that bank so we could draw some interest, and basically in a year's time, money was good then. It's not today, but in a year's time, we were able to make $102,000 off that original $2 million. So that's what that's about. Okay, so we actually bid that out to different banks, had them submit their going rates, what they would pay us, and Cub Bank was the successful winner at 2.6% on $2 million. Okay, so we have that, and now we're to the City of LaGrange revenues on our year-to-dates, on our monthlies, and on our uncollected. We always get a few questions from that particular report. Does anyone have any tonight? I know you all have sat home and studied this all weekend, and I know you're very familiar with it. So, but I always want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you so choose to do. Okay, if no further questions, we have two documents here. I'll entertain a motion that they be approved as our financials. Anyone want
That we approve the payables for June,
to approve the payables?
the financial report.
Okay, the motion been made by Debbie Pollard. Thank you, Debbie. Second by Elsie's already beat you. Sorry, Leslie. She got there first, so we have a motion, a second. Any discussion on the motion before the council at this time? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know. I'm saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you so much. Okay, moving right along. We should be out by 8 o'clock. So, all right. How about with Grange Main Street? We have anybody here from the Main Street report tonight? Anyone? Okay. Anyone from the council want to speak anything about Main Street in general? Yeah, it's been very busy.
It's
and,
very busy.
I can speak a little bit as a vendor at the farmers market during the Flea on 53 event. We got so many compliments from people who were coming in. They came up to the market. They went down to the flea market. I have a friend who used to live in Grange who now lives out of town. She drove through and said the energy was fantastic in this town. She said it was just, I wanted to be there. And we didn't have major parking issues. I was thrilled about that. I know it was a concern at one point, but I didn't see any real issues there. People parked on the side streets and they walked around. They walked down Main Street. They came up from my bakery. They walked just all over town, and we got lots of compliments. So, as a business owner, I'd love to see that happen again, and hopefully they enjoyed themselves. And I love having those kinds of events on the weekends. So.
I'll echo everything you said. It's very busy, and I believe they're Stewart Promotion Group out of Louisville. They're planning on, I think, coming back in October for a fall show. So they. Yeah. Great, keep it up, Elsie, and your volunteer board of directors. Well, there's certainly a lot of individuals that I talk to that come into town that they're here because of trains and they want to video them and they've got their radios on and stuff like that. They can't communicate with them, but they sort of get some signals on the radios that a train may be coming. So,
Elsie, did you all have a wedding there this weekend also? Wedding at the train station?
Yes.
speak in your microphone.
Perfect.
Okay, that's part of the Main Street report. We're just giving it ourselves, and it's a good report because you all are witnessing what you're seeing day in, day out. Beach, you're involved with Main Street quite a bit. Got any comments about it from a legal counselor standpoint? Is it, you know, volunteer on Main Street Board, and he's very involved with our town. Actually, even though he's from Pee Wee Valley, he stays in Grange most of the time.
I live here, basically.
Your mic.
You hear me now? All right. I'm on the organization committee of the Main Street program, and so we had sort of a surprise last couple weeks ago. Our director has resigned. She has just left that position. She still wants to work with the Main Street program. So we're in the process of looking for a new director. This will be hard to find one that was as uppity and fearful as Sandy Phillips, but we're looking. So if anybody knows somebody that's like that, let us know. Put in interviews. But other than that, the Main Street program is going to resume the Trackside Tunes concerts starting in July. So it's third Friday of every week, every month. I'd like to have it every week, but we're going to start off having a lot of the same bands we had past. And not sure whether we want to have it on Walnut Street or behind the tourist. Other than that, it's like it's running pretty smooth, I'd say. I mean, it's accomplishing its goal of historic awareness, economic development, property protection. Kind of the three things that it does as part of the National Main Street program.
Okay.
Had about, 6 ribbon cuttings this last month, Mayor? Or new?
6.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
about 6 new businesses opening up.
Yeah, Joe. Some of you have the opportunity to attend some of them, but Joe and I go to about every ribbon cutting because the lunch is really good. You know, they always have a good lunch for us, so that's the reason Joe and I pretty much show up. We'll cut a ribbon, say a few words, and then we always look and see what kind of food they have too. But we enjoy doing that. And for those who do have the time, you're welcome to always come and be a part of that. But Joe's correct. We had about 6 different going-ons here in the city on different things that are happening. Okay, that takes care of our Main Street report. Thank everyone for speaking to that issue. How about Grange Utilities report? Scott Treese, if you want to come forward, sir, and give us your report tonight. I'm sure it's good, but always welcome to have you, Scott.
Here. I emailed out to everyone this morning, so you should have received the financial report. So if you've got any questions on that, I'll be glad to try and answer those. In the meantime, I'll give you some updates on what's happening. Our south pump station, so we're in service. The old station is out of service and has actually been taken, demolished as of this week. So things are moving along with that. We should be wrapping that project up in the next month or a month and a half, and be able to close that one out. The Pear Orchard station, we're still waiting on our contractor to show up to start that job. They have been having issues getting materials due to COVID, so they wanted to wait until they got all the materials in. I think they were just waiting on another item or two. There's work they could have been doing, but I think they're also busy, and so we're about 4 months into this contract, and they've not been here yet. So I did tell them there would be no leniency on if they go over, that they would be penalized according to the contract. So we're just kind of waiting on them to get here. The North Fourth Main and Gravity Sewer, that's the portion going through the new park. That we did have a bid opening last week on the portion going through the park. However, we only got one bid, and it was astronomically high, so we rejected that. And we were hoping to piggyback off of your all's bid opening. but then you pushed it 2 weeks, and that ended up being the day before ours. And so we're going to revamp that, and hopefully maybe even the contractor that you all end up awarding to might be interested, since they're going to be there doing work anyway and bidding on our project. So I think we're going to re-advertise that on June the 11th and have a new opening on, not June, July the 11th, and July 22nd have a bid opening on that project again. I don't know if you've driven by our office lately. If you have, you'll notice there's some work going on. So we're starting on our parking lot and with new entrances, and it's looking really nice. We'll probably do some planting this fall when we get into a good time to plant, to do some division there. But it's the crew that has done that work so far has done a really good job for us. I know we got to get with Public Works. They're going to help us on our sidewalks and signage. So I got to get with Corey soon on some of that to get scheduled with him. The other couple things that I've got, and I noticed that they're on the agenda for later, and I don't, if you want me to wait till then to talk about those, but is with the resolution on the Kentucky Rural Water financing that we're getting for this project that's going through the park. But I can wait to speak on those when we get to that agenda item.
I think while you're here,
Okay.
let's talk first about your utility report itself, and then we'll move to that subject. But anyone have any questions of Scott or anything that's going on in the Utility Commission about his report tonight, or any other projects he's talking about? As far as your improvements up there, Scott, I was up there today and looking at that, and that's going to be such a nice addition to your all's facility there for the people that live in the area, for the people driving by. But it just seems already so much nicer what you're all doing there in terms of being a public entity there, and putting effort into your look and your design and some landscaping, stuff like that. So it's really looking good, in addition to what Corey did across the street there. So that area is really moving up through there. So I appreciate what you're doing. Does anyone have any further questions about Scott's utility report? I'd like to entertain a motion that we approve his report tonight. Okay, motion made by Elsie Carter, second by Leslie Wright. Any discussion on the motion before the council? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, Scott, go ahead and speak to your other item, please, if you would. Your item is dealing with what, actually?
It was the resolution, and it's with Kentucky Rural Water Association. So that's who we are financing the North Force Main project through. So that's the portion going through the park that we've tried to bid out recently, that we'll be rebidding again later this month. And then not only that portion, but the remainder of the project, which comes from Public Works building up to the park, and then it extends on down below the post office. And that'll revamp that whole section of line so that we can, it'll upgrade it to a larger size so that we can handle more growth in the future. And so this resolution, so with Kentucky Rural Water, they're selling bonds to secure our loan. And so their bond council wanted the city to pass a resolution approving the project and approving us to borrow the money, is what it boils down to. So it's a pretty simple resolution. I think Beach had already taken a look at this, and everything looked good with him on it. So, and then the Utility Commission will also have a resolution that we will pass next week at our meeting. And that resolution is to actually, we will be the borrower on the money and not the city. So he's prepared, the bond council has prepared a separate resolution for us to approve at our meeting. I hope that explains. If you've got questions, I'll be happy to.
How much money are you talking about?
It's 1.4 million is what the number of bonds that we'll be selling at. And right now, interest rates are still low. They're talking, I got to update this. They're giving me weekly updates as we come up to, I think July the 15th is when they plan to sell the bonds. And so this week's update, I think the most recent one they had earlier in the week or late last week was 2.58% or something right in that range. So they expect it to stay pretty flat at that area right now.
Counselor, you have anything to add to the resolution, or what part of that would you prefer to read so the council can adopt that resolution as presented?
I just wanted to explain a little bit more as to why this was needed. The bond count, the Utilities Commission has been getting loans in their own name for years, but I guess you all haven't had one with this particular agency for a while.
It's, I think, 2012, I believe, was the last one
Right,
that
and
they
then
had. Yeah,
since then, the House Bill
one and came into effect 2013, which kind of changed some of the legislation on that.
first they were thinking that this bond was going to have to be in the cities, and so Scott and I talked to the bond council and showed him the ordinance that says they can clearly take out loans in their own names. Only thing that we are really needing to do in this ordinance is to approve the project, and then everything else is really basically the commission is the legal entity. House Bill 1 was called the Special Purpose Government Entity statute that basically defines agencies of the city government as not independent, but they're separate special purpose government agencies that have their own special reporting steps, which the commission follows. So basically all this says is a resolution of the city that approves the improvement project that he just described on the North Force Main, and authorizes the Utility Commission to finance the improvement project, and particularly through the rural water funding organization.
Okay. Basically, that's what it's about. It's giving basically our support in allowing the commission to enter into a bond obligation of approximately $1.4 million. We've heard it. We supposedly understand it. Who would like to make the motion to approve this resolution 11-2021?
Motion to approve resolution 11-2021.
A motion has been made by Leslie Wright. Would there be a second to that?
Second.
Elsie Carter. Any discussion on the motion before the council at this time? No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, let me know. I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. One more item, Scott. I did get sent today a letter from Department of Local Government for all those in your service territory. There was $2 or $3 million, I think, put up recently, last number of months, from, I guess, some kind of Affordable Care Act money or CARES Act monies to the utility districts around the state. We were part of an area made up of probably ourselves, Shelby County, maybe, I don't know if it went out as far as Trimble, but the Grange Utility, this is a grant basically to allow folks to come in to submit past due water bills, sewer bills, and utilities up in the amount of $200,000. So you're probably aware of this, right? Yeah. And the person or the agency is going to be funneling this money back to the customers once it gets going here soon, I hope. Will be the Tri-County Community Action Agency. That's the agency that the governor's office has chosen to funnel the money through, and the folks in your service territory will be able to go there soon, I guess, and fill out an application, and I think they can get up to so many months' help with past utility bills. Are you familiar with that? Okay, so you know more about it than I do, correct?
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so that's good news, isn't it? Help you all out and help them too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If that's all for Scott, you say you got to be back again for some other item. Is that what you said, sir?
There's an ordinance amendment. I think it's item number 15.
You want to deal with that? Is that a first reading, I take it? Okay. Beach, you evidently drafted the ordinance, you and Scott together, so would you like to give the council a summarization on the first reading of that ordinance, please?
Sure, we'll read it in summary, but its ordinance number is Stephanie. Stephanie? Okay, ordinance number 8, series 2021, an ordinance amending the Utility Commission's ordinance relating to publication of water and sewer rates and charges. This is part of the sort of rewrite of the ordinance committee on a lot of the ordinances that are superfluous and not really necessary. What had done from 2006 forward to 2015 is the schedule of rates and charges that were set by the commission. The utility commission has the power to set these ordinances. I mean the rates and charges. And for some reason they were incorporated into the ordinance itself. So it made it very difficult and wasn't done in the years past, so that they were grossly out of date and misleading or confusing to the public. So Scott suggested that, well, why not just do a link to our website where the current prices and the rates will be, and customers have any questions, they can just call or go to their website and get it. So that's what the purpose of this is. There's 4 sections that currently repeat the way that the water rates and charges are made, and there's 1 section that repeats the way the sewer rates and charges are made. So what we're basically doing is just deleting those sections and adding a new section just says basically go to the Utility Commission's website, and they have to follow everything else that we would have to follow basically in passing ordinances, like public meetings, advertisements, hearings, and posting it on the web. So the whole idea is to keep the public informed of what their bills are and where they can go look for them. Pretty cool.
Okay, so that's sufficient for a first reading, Scott. So next month we'll have a public hearing on this and let the public interact if they choose to. So we just take up the second reading public hearing next month. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Apologize to the commission for getting out of order here, but since Scott suggested we go with some items he had, I guess they'd been more grouped together, but they weren't. I thought maybe he had to vacate, so I do apologize for that. We never did move to item 9 yet. Donna Sabo with Grange Tourism. I don't think she's here tonight. Andrea always speaks, I think, to her behalf. And maybe, Andrea, if you want to say a few words about tourism in general, you're certainly welcome to.
I know Tourism Commission had a meeting scheduled. That meeting was canceled. I think there's some personal issues going on, but I do see that the hotel tax pulled in about $10,000 last month, which is pretty great, which we didn't have before we passed that ordinance. So I will get with Donna this coming month and let y'all know what's going on at the next meeting.
Okay. Anyone have any comments otherwise about tourism at this point? Anything you'd like to say about the word tourism or anything related to it? Anything? Always want to make sure you get a chance to speak on any subject if you wish to.
Probably Stewart Promotions and that event brought some people into our hotels, some vendors that spent the night. So I think that was probably really good for the town in that sense as well.
I certainly agree with that as well. Okay, item 10, we always have a chance for anyone in the public to speak to us on practically any subject matter. You always are allocated 4 minutes at least. If you need to speak longer, always can get permission from the City Council to extend your time. So does anyone wish to come forward and speak in terms of any public comments you may have for us tonight? Seeing no one, we'll keep moving right along. Item 11. Jim Selman, I'm sorry to put you after all this, but that's quite okay. Sorry, I wish I could have got you home earlier, buddy. But anyway, yourself and codification person, gentleman here tonight. But I'm sorry for that. But item 11 is bid evaluation summary for LaGrange Springs Park. You all were sent home in your packets a couple of documents about where we are with the Springs Park discussion and anything related to Springs Park in terms of dollar amounts, figures, things of that type. So tonight we have with us our architects who have been working with us for the last 8 months to a year probably, off and on, mostly on during the last number of months. We have with us Jody Smiley and Sarah Jones, and also have with us the chairperson of our Springs Park Committee, Ann Zimley. So with that being said, ladies, I'd like to invite y'all to come forward, make the opening presentation about where you think we are, Ms. Zimley, and then on any of the documents that the council has before us, we can have whatever discussion we need to have in terms of that subject matter. So I guess, Ann, you would like to go first and probably speak and then maybe introduce your guests to the council once again.
Thank you guys very much. And just want to let you all know we're really excited to finally be at this stage of this entire process. As many of you know, the Springs Park was an idea that we started working on when I was still on council. I've now been off council over 2 years, and we have been meeting regularly. Many of you all have participated in those meetings. We've had countless design meetings, redraftings, and throughout the course, actually 2 years, we've been working with these lovely ladies from the design team to get this park to what we think is going to be an amazing asset for the city of LaGrange. The brochures that I just passed out to you kind of explain the different aspects of the park, including future plans. Tonight we're here to evaluate the bids for phase 1, which is probably the most construction intensive portion of the park, with the farmers market pavilion, the playground, the splash pad, etc., a large parking area, and a good chunk of the road. So we are very grateful for the support council's given us up to this point. We know you all have had to approve some land acquisitions. You all have had to approve appropriations for us to even embark on this design process, and you all have been great supporters of this, and we really appreciate it, and we're excited to move into this next phase. And so with that said, I'm going to let Jody Smiley with Environs Inc. and Sarah Kopke-Jones with Jones Landscaping discuss our bid evaluation process.
Thanks, Ann. Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah. This is Jody, if you don't remember. So fortunately, we had 4 bids for the Springs Park project, which seems to be a lot these days, which is great. Pretty competitive. It was Monday, June 28th is when we accepted 4 bids, and the 4 companies listed here: Calhoun out of Louisville, Churchill McGee out of Lexington, Easy Construction out of Louisville, and Mack Construction from New Albany. A few days later, we formed an evaluation committee and met to discuss the bids. Those present were Ann Zimlick, Springs Park Committee Chair, Bill Landline, Council Member and Springs Park Committee, Joe Davenport, Council Member and Parks Board, Russ Morris, Springs Park Committee, Elsie Carter, Council Member, Mayor John Black, Councilor Beach Craigmile, Corey Rusnak, Public Works, Kevin McCalla from Ross Tarrant Architects, which is the architects working with us as the lead, Jody Smiley and myself. The committee thoroughly discussed all the prices and qualifications as they submitted packets of pictures and information about projects that they had worked on in the past, the general contractors as well as their subcontractors. Jody and I reached out to a lot of these specific references to follow up on those things. We discussed that with the committee present, we decided that 5 of the people present that day were to be the voting evaluators. And that was Ann Zimlick, Bill Lamline, Joe Davenport, Mayor John Black, and Jody Smiley. As you can see, the printout, we have a evaluation of price as well as qualifications, and that was set forth from the instruction to bidders and part of the project manual of the project, of the construction documents. We received both the base bid as well as alternates that were things that we subdivided in order to get the most competitive price, and to evaluate those at respect to the costs that were presented. So as you can see from the evaluations that were given down below and tallied on that page, the committee is recommending Calhoun Construction with the most points being both price and qualifications this time.
Could you, on the sheet where you're talking about the base bid and moving across, could you maybe explain that a little bit more to the council on the alternates and how that was built into the bid specs and how we debated that during our debate of the bids we have received?
Yes, we had a base bid, which was set forth to be a lot of the main items, and then we subdivided 2 of the playground pieces into one developmental and also the climbing area. We had the themed piece, which was the train element, to be part of the base bid, but we weren't sure how pricing, just from hearing about what things are going on this time of the market, we wanted to be able to accept a bid. We weren't sure where that was going to lie. So, but the other 2, or there's also some expanded landscaping, and also pieces part of the market pavilion as far as the fans and some weather enclosures that were part of the market pavilion building. Also a type of framing system that was desired as opposed to glulam construction, and that was because of glulam is an engineered product, and that most all of the committee as well as the design team preferred the timber frame, but it's something that you have to add in as an alternate, which we did. Yeah.
Just in case there's more questions on that, the glulam being an engineered product was something that our engineering team could design around with their liability insurance covering them, and the timber frame is a not equal one-to-one substitute, but close enough that they could design the glulam structure, and the timber frame people could look at that structure and say, yes, I can meet those spacings, and yes, I can do that. So we had to have something that was engineerable in order to do the science behind it. The glulam, the timber frame product, because each timber coming out of a tree is slightly different from the timber next door to him. Those have to be, the actual timbers have to be evaluated. So the contractors submitted the evaluation of the timbers that they can use, and our engineers as an alternate, and our engineers did the design that with the look that we were looking for, so we could have, it was a way we could have our cake and eat it too.
Okay, so the company that you, the architects and the team, and the persons evaluating the bids and listening to you all as the architects, having done the references, the background of anyone who was participating, what's your number that you're asking the council to consider approving tonight?
That is the $4,527,074 amount of the bidder in the first column, with base bid included with alternates 1 and 3 and 5 and 7. 1 through 3 and 5 through 7.
And that number would be $4,527,074.00.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. going back once again to the first line under market timber frame, the $200,000 in parentheses. That's the cost of the timber frame as a, that's considered a deduct, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so with that deduct, it still comes to $4,527,074, correct?
Correct. That is including the alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3.
Please,
and
please
7.
explain to the council what alternates we are choosing to do ourselves.
The city is choosing to do themselves. So the alternates the city is going to do themselves, so the things that we did not include in this bid, which would be alternate 4A, which is the benches, and there was some discussion on that design of what type of benches. We did price out a certain off the catalog, just a catalog bench, and additional site furnishings, which is alternate 4B, which is your trash receptacles, bike racks, dog waste stations, and picnic tables. Yes. So those things the city could purchase directly, and it would eliminate the tax. So the Department of Public Works would be able to get the benches, assemble them, and install them, which would be a cost savings. And we wanted to evaluate that, what the bidders were going to provide for us, and we're deciding not to take those through that base bid, but that the city would self-perform. Excuse me.
What other ones did you have?
The other few that we did not include on this were alternates 8, 9, and 10, and that has to do with having Public Works self-perform the asphalt base and surfacing, which would be the parking lots and the driveways. And that number we're not accepting. It's something that the contractor is going to keep within the bid. So all the paving and everything is going to be on the contractor and not have to go through Public Works. The other two were evaluating borrow material that is at Oldham Reserve. And there's 2 stockpiles that have different locations, so we split them up because of the accessibility of each, and the those were not taken. So the borrow material will not be evaluated from Oldham Reserve for the project. Borrow material will be included that the contractor has from elsewhere.
So what you're saying to that for clarification is regardless where the material comes from, where they buy it outright to do the fill needed, or they were to get it from Oldham Reserve, there would be no change in their price, correct?
But the part of this base bid, we're not accepting those alternates at all. So they're going to take the fill that was required of the project from elsewhere. Will not be coming from Oldham Reserve.
Okay. Okay. Is that all you all need to want to present tonight, and based on what you've spoken to thus far? Okay. You have heard from Ann Zemlich. You've heard from Jody and Sarah Jones. Any questions, comments, concerns from the City Council to anyone at this time about the acceptance of this bid tonight?
Playground includes the spray ground, correct?
Sorry, yes, it includes this spray ground.
Right,
The base bid did.
includes the spray ground.
Yeah, and we didn't say that term, but yes.
Alternates, the spray ground's not in the alternates.
Oh, it was always in the base bid, yeah.
So it was never pulled out to be a potential alternate. The spray ground was meant to be built with the base of the park, no matter what.
Any council person have any comments at this time about any matter concerning what you have before you at this time?
Thank them for all the hard work and hours, because y'all really appreciate it.
I'll just, by setting in all these meetings with Jody and Sarah and all the meetings we've been through with, I think they did an exceptional job. And when we voted on this. I mean, all 5 voters came up with the same company, and there was a lot of research done on some of the other companies that their actual qualifications didn't come up to par. There was some problem with some of those companies, so it was a thorough discussion before this construction company was chosen, and it was by a sheet, so nobody knew. Each voter didn't know what the other voter was doing. You know, there wasn't any conversation between the 5 of us. We just put it was like a 50-50 or whatever we wanted to put on the others. Some of them maybe got 10 or whatever than the company, so it wasn't, nobody knew what the other person was actually voting for. So when the votes was tallied, all 5 came in, as you could see on the score, for the construction company we picked. So it was a thorough discussion, again, I say, and a lot of research done on each company. For instance, one of them didn't have spray ground qualifications, and that's just an example of that. And so that's the way it was all chosen by, from comments, and we had a Zoom meeting also going with engineers. So there was a lot of questions, a lot of discussion before this was actually chosen. So
I'd like to say something. I was not included on the vote, but I did sit on the interview. It seemed like they were in different ways, but I did think that there were 2 companies was most experienced, and that's been my view that, for example, looks like.
Thing to note, if you look at the total evaluation of the qualifications.
Yeah, please speak.
Sorry, I was too far away. If you'll look at the qualifications numbers, the Easy Construction happened to have been higher in qualifications, which agrees with what Elsie said. Their bid numbers were higher than Calhoun's numbers, so Calhoun ended up winning the score from price because both were evaluated. Both the price and the qualifications were evaluated equally.
Any further, anyone else wants to say about where we are tonight?
One thing I'd like to point out, John, is that on your summary here is Joe Davenport of the Parks Department was actually commissioned. We don't have a Parks Department. We have a Parks
committee.
Sorry, board.
Committee.
It's really a committee of Joe, Elsie.
I was not on the committee.
Committee, though. You're on the committee.
Okay, well, I just didn't get to vote, but I was there at the meeting, yes.
Right. It's just a committee.
I think I'll say this. When I came into office, this project was ongoing, and of course I jumped in to help out where I could and support the idea, and still to this day. I will say that probably early on, I felt like $3 million was going to be enough to cover it. But anytime you get into something like this, there just seems to be no end to anything like this. Bids higher. Well, we're going to do this, or we're going to just cut this out, and one thing after another. So I guess trying to get a quality place without going back after the fact and redoing it and adding to it. We are now about $1.5 million higher than what I had originally thought we were going to be. But it seems like to me that's always the case, no matter what you're doing, whether you're building a house or anything. So I want better kitchen cabinets than that, and so that'd be another $35,000. So I want higher ceilings in my basement, so that'd be another $36,000. It's one thing after another before you know it, you're $200,000 over budget on a house. But that being said, I would like to say to the council tonight, this is quite a bit of an undertaking for our city. However, for the long term, I think it's going to be something that is going to build community pride. It's going to bring a lot of people together. Hopefully, it'll bring more people to our town. Hopefully, it'll be more opportunity for our citizens to. Seems like they're enjoying another idea that's positioned right here in our downtown. The farmers market, Russ Morris is here tonight. It'll be a piece of what they will use for their farmers market idea. It'll entertain a lot of kids to come having fun in our city. And yes, the price has escalated. For future thoughts, I feel like that we can handle this debt. If I didn't think like we could, I wouldn't be doing it. It's certainly a big obligation, but when I look at I've tried to analyze on how many years we need to carry this to be able to afford it, the debt payment in our annual budgeting for the per year, plus operations costs. So I will say the reason that we're in this shape today, City Council, is because, yes, we continue to build a business park in our city here, but it's being built primarily on the ability and the area of the comp tax. If we didn't have the comp tax to continue that idea and to keep that business park going to create future jobs, future employment, future everything in our city, then this money that we have in reserve would have been used probably to build that business park out there, or it would have sat there idle and nothing would ever happen to it because there would have been no money to do it with. So we are trying to create more opportunity. This debt that we'll have on this thing, I think Trey's always been an advocate of trying to put cash money into the project. We will be taking right at $2 million of that account from the Cub Bank, as you saw tonight. That will be $2 million of cash on hand going in on the front end of this project, in addition to a $2.5 million bond issue over 20 years. The debt on that bond issue, if they were sold today, the bonds, the number would be about $151,000 annually on the debt itself for a 20-year time period. That's not including any operations. That's not including staff at the park. So those kind of costs have to be built in the next number of budgets as to how that will happen in addition to the actual annual debt. So I was looking at a 15-year note, but a 15-year note would go about $191,000 to $195,000 a year, and I thought that would be pushing our annual budget too much. So I backed off on the years and extended it 5 more. The good news is, City Council, is if we stay in good shape, we have an 8-year buyout clause in our bonds when we issue them. So after 8 years, we can get out, pay it off, pay anything down on it, and get away from it if we're still in good shape after 8 years into the mission. So that's the good news. It doesn't have to be carried without a out clause at 15, 10, or 12 years. So we can pay the debt down, probably get out at 8 years and be done with it. But we're handling any and all debts right now fairly easily, so that's the good news. But as we go here forward, there may be some budgets that, hate to say it, Corey, hate to say it, Chief, but Corey might want a $78,000 truck, and say, Corey, don't have it this year, buddy. So our Chief might want 4 police cars, and I say, well, we're going to get 2. So we're going to stay in good shape. This is going to be a city class facility we're going to have here, and tonight is before this council. If you all wish to move forward with this very fine feature that these ladies and this council and previous councils have worked on for years to bring about this particular night and approving the ability to move this project forward. Once this is done tonight, we'll get with the contractors, sign any and all agreements, make sure everything's in place, and hopefully get them started by end of the month or 1st of August. So that's about it. So any further discussion on the matter before the council, or do anyone ready to make a motion on what's before you?
Mayor, I'd just like to quickly thank everybody who was involved in this project and recognize that this project was actually started 8.5 years ago. So it's been a long haul. It hasn't been a pretty haul, but it's been a long haul. And I'd like to thank everybody for their cooperation and their support of this project. Talked to a lady today who wants the Make-A-Wish Foundation donate some money to this project for a child, and hopefully that's going to come to fruition. So again, thanks everybody for your love of the project and understanding of its economic impact to this city.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Any further comments?
So from what I'm hearing right now, the 2.5 million that we will already be putting forth, and then the 2 million that we'll be putting in cash, pretty much covers the 4.5 that you guys need, and then anything above and beyond that for donations and whatnot would kind of help that operational cost. And am I hearing that all correctly? I just want to make sure I got all my numbers right.
Well, I'm somewhat concerned too, Leslie, on some kind of contingency we have in this built into here. What kind of contingency we have? We don't have any contingency.
It doesn't sound like you have a contingency left. If
Typically, when you get a bid like this, they want 5-8% contingency for unknowns.
Right,
So since we don't have one, here's my contingency plan. Well, I don't have one really, but gates going in the Rollins parking lot, everyone, those aren't figured in at this point. I don't think they're nowhere. The AT&T direct line burial, I don't know if it's in here. So I'm telling this council that this number here, Leslie, the 2.5 million is what we'll borrow. To originate the bonds, the fiscal age, and everything to go with that, of the 2.5 million, they're probably going to take 75,000 to 80,000 on bond origination fees. So now we lose $80,000 immediately, everyone. Now, that being said, we need this full 4.5 to get it done for sure. So there are going to be, I really don't want to borrow more than $2.5 million. I don't want to borrow $3 million. I could borrow $3 million and make it really easy on all of us, But I don't think that's what we should be doing to straddle future councils with more debt. So I've tried to hold the line on the $2.5 million, everyone, and more than likely, not only will I have to take most of this $2 million at Cub, I'll probably have to move over to Bedford, Stephanie Cooper, and start getting from the cash on hand there. So I want to get the project done, everyone, but I just speak what's on my mind. But we could have, I don't know, we could have a couple of $100,000 more dollars to find. However, the good news is, I haven't told you any good news yet, have I? We are, with the permission of this tonight, we will immediately move into the phase of going to the Agricultural Development Board, which we've already met with in Frankfurt, and we're in line to get $250,000 through the tobacco settlement funds, and we feel like that's pretty good, don't we, Russ Morris? Russ is with the farmers market. So of this figure we're talking about tonight, we're in great shape. They passed this around Kentucky to get $250,000 since we have a farmers market pavilion going into this place. But tonight we had to get the bids approved and then show in these bid processes where we had to at least spend $500,000 on the farmers market in order to get $250,000 from them. So very much say we can spend $500,000 easily on the farmers market by itself. So I just want everybody to know what is out there ahead of us. So anyway, any further comments or questions from the City Council at this time? Anybody willing to make a motion on the?
I have one question. This is slightly off, but I was just looking through. These things look beautiful. Is this something that we could scan and put on the City of LaGrange Facebook page or something? I mean, all of it just looks beautiful. Are we able to show that? I was like, is that? I mean, it's very there. The pictures are very beautiful. I think that would really help. You know, the present and then the after, to let people see exactly what it's gonna look like. I mean, I would just, if it's okay, I think it'd be a great idea to put it on the city's page and on the city's Facebook page. I know lots of people have had questions.
I agree totally with you. I'm wanting to tape one on the back of your car too. Okay.
I'll need 7 of them, so I'm going to put them each on the back.
No.
I'm going to wrap my car in it.
There you go, Leslie.
Advertisement.
Okay. No, we will advertise any and everywhere we can for this, okay, if we get the opportunity. Okay, the matter is sitting with the City Council this time, so I'll entertain a motion, either up, down, or you name it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Calhoun Construction as the major contractor for the Springs Park.
At the
and signing of the contract.
$4.5 million number, Bill? Is that what you're saying? Make sure you just put that number in the minutes, please. Okay. Motion's been made by Bill Lamline, second by Leslie Wright. The motion's on the table and it's open now for discussion. Anybody wishing to discuss any part of the subject before the council now? If not, no one's wishing to say anything further. I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Still roll call vote, please. Start with whoever you choose to start with.
Yes.
I just have some concerns about the cost. I'm going to stick with my no from previously. Thanks.
Leslie? Joe? Elsie? Andrea? Debbie? 6 yes, 2 no.
Right, well, you didn't get Trey, did you?
Sorry, Trey.
How did I vote? Officially recognize me, I guess, or yeah? I guess yes.
Yeah.
What did he vote? Yes.
The 2.
The other one, Jason.
Okay, motion passes 6-2. Okay. Thank you all for all you've done and all your help and assistance and efforts.
Appreciate y'all for all the hard work. and you also. I mean, it's been a chore, so it's come a long ways. Thank y'all.
Okay, let's keep moving here. It's 10:45, and I apologize for anybody that's still with us. But Jim Silliman, let's go with you, sir, and please speak to the council on what you have for us tonight.
Silliman, Oldham County Engineer. For matter of correctness in your minutes, I'm actually with the engineering department, not planning and zoning or planning and development. But
Okay.
no need to apologize for my order in the agenda. I was actually eager to hear the results. So, as a potential user and county engineer, so thank you.
Sure.
What you have before you is amendment number 1 to the East Peak Road construction project. Sure, sorry. What I have before you is amendment number 1 to East Peak Road construction project. This amendment, or the original contract, is with Mac Construction, constructing this portion of East Peak Road. After the project was bid and awarded, Kentucky Utilities required some additional scope and infrastructure for the utilities that are being provided for on the roadway. So we've been negotiating with the design, or with help of the design engineer, with Kentucky Utilities to determine what exactly they needed installed and added. They needed additional switchgear bases. So the cost of that has come in at, it's estimated at, well, it's set at $104,041. Half of that would be paid by the city, half by Oldham County Fiscal Court. Oldham County Fiscal Court approved this amendment at their fiscal court meeting on June 29th. So I'm asking the city council to also approve their portion. I think it's important to note that when the project started, an escrow was set up to pay for construction. About $1.8 million was put into the escrow based on a construction engineer's estimate. The bid came in at $1.335 million, and so even with this addition, it's well below that escrow amount that would be used to pay for this.
Everyone, if you haven't been out to see what's going on out in Old Reserve, please go. You'll see what Jim's talking about here tonight. East Peak Road to the east is actually built. It's marked. It's lined with street lining and whatever the product's done for East Peak Road to Mac Construction, and that piece of road was put in for primarily the Trilogy Company. Trilogy that's out there presently building right now. They're building their facility. They what's the name of the facility? What's it going to be? It's just not a nursing home. It's a healthcare facility, about 100,000 square feet or 90,000, something like that. That's the reason East Peak Road was put in. What Jim was saying, you all, we have already placed into an escrow amount based on the engineer's estimate before Peak Road East was ever even put in. So this $102,000 will be coming from actually compensation tax money to help pay for this cost, even though it's already been placed into an escrow amount already. So we do have positive money in there based on what the actual bid came in later date versus what the engineer's estimate was. So that's the good news. As far as this actual change order or whatever Jim's here tonight for, I guess that came up during the course of whatever, and that's what Kentucky Utility said they needed to do, correct? Okay. So who on the city council would like to make a motion for us to share in this cost of our share being $52,0250 to help get this piece of the infrastructure work done?
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Elsie Carter.
I'll second.
Second by Andrew Essenprice. Any discussion on the motion? Any questions on the motion to Jim Silliman or anyone else? Have any questions? Comments? Concerns? What's that?
I need to get a job as a foreman. Billy Ray, you need to get a new job. Are they hiring?
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Oh, we have a second. I'm sorry. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion we have on the table? Anyone? No? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Jim, very much, and appreciate you coming and being on top of this project out there for us, okay? Thank you so much, sir. I tell you what, I would like to get to this gentleman right here. If the council would so let me, I'm sorry, buddy, but you came in, and I'm sorry I don't know why, but I didn't hear about your presence till this morning, sir, and I'm so sorry about holding you up because I know you got to get home tonight. But I think before I begin with you, sir, I'd like for Stephanie Winther and Jason Taylor, or maybe Jason, would you lead into this person tonight and purpose for him being here to the city council?
Sure, Mayor, I can do that. Now, Stephanie might want to lead in a little bit further. I'll just give you a quick overview. Actually, I did send everybody on the council on June 3rd an overview of our May meeting. We've talked about this a couple months and mentioned that Mr. Fromeyer would likely be present today, so we're glad he could make it. He sent a proposal, this company from American Legal, and we've talked in the committee for a while about the ordinance committee about codifying the ordinances, and there's a lot of things that need work to make sure they're accurate. Some things may need adjusting or amending, and it would make it so much easier to have this codification. There's some inconsistencies that Beach had mentioned as well, and we had talked about going through these individually from the perspective of the ordinance committee, and that task was going to be pretty monumental, I think, to try to do that. And so we've been provided this recodification proposal. Stephanie spoke to, I believe, Mr. Fromeyer and got this information. Gave you all this about a month ago. The committee's opinion is that the council ought to at least listen to what he has to say, read through the proposal, and think about it. We're not asking necessarily anything tonight unless you all want to do something tonight. We do have, I think, most of this in the budget for such codification if we choose to do that. So anyway, I just wanted to get your feedback and hear what he has to say. And Stephanie, do you have anything further?
I spoke with Allison from American Legal, and back in 1995 is when we contracted with them to codify our ordinances and put them on their website. Kentucky Revised Statute recommends every 5 years you should do a legal review. Since we've been with them since 1995, we have never done a legal review. So I put some other things in front of you. One is a copy of the statute, state statute, and then there was another thing that Mr. Fromeyer sent over today, the Legal and Editorial Research Report. It's an example from Bowling Green, Kentucky. So he'll refer to that tonight. It's a daunting task. It's big. It's huge. So I hope everybody really listens to what he has to say and if he's going to answer any questions anybody has. So, great. Thank you.
Stephanie, I would point out that section 11 of the ordinance that you attached, sub 83A.060, says at least once every 5 years each city shall cause all ordinances in the index to be examined. So it's not optional, it's mandatory.
Yeah, every 5 years. So we're a little bit behind on that. So we do definitely need to get caught up.
Thank you all for having me and squeezing me in. I appreciate that. I've been with the company for 26 years and one of the owners of the company. So many of us live in Kentucky that are owners, so it's a good feeling, and especially when you're dealing with cities in Kentucky that I've been to. In fact, I think I was here in '95 when we originally did this project.
Was it mayor, sir? Was it me? Or was
I can't remember.
Well, this gentleman's here because they're all sitting here.
Nancy.
Nancy Steele, maybe? Okay,
Steele.
fine, Nancy Steele.
Might be it.
Okay.
But Councilman.
Nancy Steele, that's right.
your code hasn't been updated. We do, our customer service, once I sell it, we codify it. We do a legal review back then. You know, the Kentucky Revised Code does say you shall do this. They also really don't have penalties for it. So, you know, but it's good to get it done. And the reason is you do get inconsistencies. So because we're not checking everything that you send us, we're just codifying those ordinances. So our suggestion is always to try to get municipalities to update every 5 years, to do at least a legal review and a recodification. So with our proposal, since it has been so long, not only the first thing we'll do, and I did provide the Bowling Green sample. So one of our staff attorneys will go through the entire code word for word and look at your ordinances, not only for internal inconsistencies, but they'll also look at state law and they'll also look at case law. So any changes there. They do also look at some federal laws. They don't look at everything, but they do look at some. When we provide this legal and editorial research report, your attorney has to be involved with that. So your attorney needs to look over what our attorney found and the problems that are there. Sometimes our attorney, depending on the inconsistency or if you're completely against state law, they'll provide a model ordinance. And we're not telling you to use that model ordinance, but other municipalities have, and you may want to look at it, tweak it, however you want. And we do provide those in Word or Word Perfect. Mostly everybody uses Word now. But we can provide those in Word. If there's any issues that you're currently having that you need a model on, that you're having an issue on, let us know before we start this project so we can look at that a little bit more the way it needs to be looked at. I mean, our attorney looks at it to see if it's inconsistent or if it's against the law. They're not looking at it to change something that doesn't violate state law. And the reason they do that is you all passed, not you, but previous councils have passed those ordinances and you haven't made amendments to them. So our attorney is not looking to make a change to it unless it does have a problem with that ordinance. One of the other projects is once we give that legal review, you all look at it and then we go back with all the changes. We add that to the book. We clean the book up. We add any additional ordinances that you've passed or any changes that you want. We do ask that each department head look at their section of this when we go through it, because you might be doing something different than what's in the code book, and we need to have that corrected to make sure. We see that all the time where they're like, well, we don't do that. And it's like, well, that's what your law is, so let's go ahead and get that fixed. And it's a cleanup stage, so you'll pass one ordinance to adopt all these changes. And when you pass that ordinance, we ask you to let council look at it as well as the citizens look at it before you go through and pass that final to accept this as your new code of ordinances. I'll open it up to questions. We also put it online. One thing I do want you to know is that when we recodify it and you put it online, we will update it as ordinances pass. So if an ordinance passes tonight, email it to us the next day. And typically, if it's a smaller ordinance, we get it within 7 to 10 business days online, the change. So not only the citizens have access to it, but staff, developers. You guys seem like you have a lot going on right now. So it'd be nice to have those ordinances updated and online as quickly as possible instead of once a year. And we can do that with this. And I'll open it up to any questions.
Council, committee, ordinance committee, I know this has been discussed there. What questions or comments based on, I think, what the council received, I guess, tonight or today or sometime, I don't think we had prepared or had not had given to us when the packets went out. So I was looking at it briefly this afternoon. I think it was 20 pages or so. So if the council feels that you just saw this, when did they receive it, Stephanie? Okay. Oh, so you got it Friday? Okay. I didn't even realize it got out.
Yeah,
so
it's been.
You're all familiar with it enough tonight to at least discuss it, correct?
Proposal was in the packets. The thing you have tonight was just a sample copy from the
Okay.
The proposal was put in the.
Being on the ordinance committee, I'll just throw in my 2 cents. After we learned about this and what extensive work it would be for the three of us and Beach, he's the only lawyer in it, and the three of us laymen who are, well, you're a lawyer, but with another full-time job. But to try to go through and compare everything and look for overlaps, it would take us years. And Andrea and I, as much as we, love doing things, that's a lot of time and something that I would never feel comfortable doing, comparing and, doing the legalese on some of it. It would take hundreds and hundreds of hours. And this is something I think would be well worth the investment, not to mention, it hasn't been done in 25 years. It's definitely time for the overhaul from AmLegal.
Right, that you make a great point. The time it would take for you all to go through it, our attorneys, that's what they do. This is all they do. So they're well versed in this to look at this.
So as part of the ordinance committee with Leslie and Jason, the base cost of your proposal was $13,000. We currently have budgeted $5,000 a year for codification, and you have that your terms can be budgeted over 2 fiscal years if necessary. So hypothetically, it would not go much over what we already have been budgeting for this. I'm not sure if we even used a budget for this last year.
We only used a few $100s for the codification. I saw that on June's statement, so I know we have not used I didn't add it up, but I know we did not use $5,000 in codification over this last year.
I just agree that it's a very worthy investment, and having been on council now for about 3 years and digging through ordinances and trying to find, I appreciate what you do and what your company does, and I think it's a really good investment for us and long overdue.
I always wanted to know what people did with English degrees besides teach, and they come to our company.
Rich, can you give the council just kind of a quick overview of what that cost that you've outlined, $13,000, would include?
Basically, we're going to take all the ordinances and do a complete legal review. Any ordinances that you've passed recently, please send them to us. But we're going to look at your ordinances. Our attorney is going to go through and look at it to see if there's inconsistencies. And that's a big bulk of it, is going through all of that. It's going to take us between, we say, 3 to 7 months to go through all of that. They get with an editor, and an editor will kind of make notes first, and then the attorney goes through it. The editor is there to clean it up. So I was telling, there's these pages called A and B pages. So like you'll have page 56 and then 56A, B, C, D. Well, what happens sometimes is when people go to make changes, they make a mistake and they'll put in 56 again, so then you'll have two 56As. So we're going to clean all those up as well. So you don't have a lot, but there are some in there. So that's part of the cleanup. And then also, once you all go through the code and any changes that you want to make and any model ordinances that you want, we add all that in, and that's all included in this price as well as a meeting with our attorney. So you do get conference call. You get one hour conference call with the attorney. You can do more, and they do Zoom meetings as well now. Everybody knows how to do that, and all the other online services. So we will meet that, and then any phone calls you want with our attorney, there's no charge during this recodification process.
So is your price $13,000? That's it?
Unless you add a big ordinance here or there, we do that's based on what we know we have. If all of a sudden you add an ordinance here, 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 and a big, then it's a little bit more.
You've already looked at your workload as far as we go as a city, correct? And that's how you've arrived at your estimated price of $13,000.
Exactly. So you're not going to, I mean, you may be 1,000 more or 1,000 less, but you're not going to be much. It could go either way. We actually have it's increase or a decrease clause, depending on how much you take out.
Are you presently working for cities that we know about?
We do Oldham County, Pee Wee.
Oldham County Fiscal Court?
Yes, we do their code. We do most of them in Kentucky. There's a few that we don't do, but I've sold most of them in Kentucky in my 26 years.
Pee Wee Valley currently?
We do Pee Wee Valley. We do Louisville, Jefferson County. We do, pretty much. I think there's 9 that we don't do down in the southern part.
9 cities
9
out of
cities.
Kentucky? The rest of them you do?
Not all of them. We're still trying to get some. Some of them still aren't codified. So, and there is grant money available, but it was only available that first time when you codified. It's not available anymore for municipalities.
So all these different prices throughout the document, that's nothing for us to be concerned about as alternate ads, right?
Those are additional features that we offer. Typically what happens is once we recodify and we get close to the end, I start showing you, hey, if you want all these bells and whistles that we can offer. So we can put an old code up, your previous versions of your code, and you can do a compare, and it's a red line strikeout. We can also list all of your ordinances. If a new ordinance passes, we can put a little note up there and say newly passed ordinance so citizens see that. They can get an email for free. They sign up and they can get an email anytime your code changes. So that's free. But
once we enter into 13, you're going to try to say, hey, for $460 you can get this feature, right?
Correct.
More coming.
Correct. I mean, you don't have to do any of it. I'll show it to you and you guys decide. No, I agree. I mean, some municipalities don't do anything, and some.
Will a $13,000 fee get us where we really need to be without further ads?
Okay.
Yeah.
Get you recodified.
I have a question. What about some of our ordinances are very old, and some of the new ordinances that were passed in the last 10 years may be in conflict with older ordinances. Do you all look at that also? Do you try to find those discrepancies?
That's exactly what we'll do. So when we go through this.
I have a couple of questions. Have you determined that we have 650 pages now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we think it's going to be when we finish it.
That's based on 12 pitch type? Or what? I mean, everything we've got now is online.
Correct.
The solid books.
Right. And we suggest that you do, and I think Stephanie said they're not sure there is one, but we do suggest that you keep one book. And we will make sure, I think the proposal is 10.
We get 10 providers. So that book will be 650 pages.
Done. That's what we expect it to be.
Now, what if 200 of those pages we just did last year? Maybe 400 of them, or is it all for none?
What we think the code book will be finished. So it's going to be 650 pages. Now, if you decide you take out a lot, it could go lower. We've had that happen. We had a municipality that took out about 150 pages, and it did lower their price, but they took out their zoning code, which we thought was a mistake. And then, the next administration wanted it back in, but they didn't want to pay, so for us to put it back in. So,
now, how do you calculate pages for incorporated reference laws, state and federal? like we just adopted the International Building Construction about many pages.
Correct. So that is adopted by reference.
That's part of the 650
There'll be just a one line in there that says the building,
What about the Kentucky Building Code?
adopted. Correct. It's adopted by reference.
This is our 650?
Correct. You've got a lot of materials in your
Yeah,
in
we
your
incorporate the fire code, the electric code, the building code.
it's all your other ordinances too. So
I mean, I don't understand. We have a lot more than 650 pages to incorporate a building code this thick, the international code.
the international code, it'll be in your codified ordinances is adopted by reference. It'll just be a one line.
Oh, okay. So you don't add those pages in the electrical.
You would be it'd be I mean it would be ridiculously high. So we do not do that. Yeah.
What you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. I should have been more clear.
Okay. And I mean, I was with Pee Wee Valley when y'all originally codified us, and so it was very helpful. And we got a bunch of model stuff. So, have you? Can you explain some of these optional services here on your second page, like the supplemental service?
So the supplemental services, once the code is codified and finished, any ordinances you pay us, we will charge you that price to add those ordinances. So you pass an ordinance tonight, you send it to us. Let's say it's 10 pages. We charge you 10 for the 10 pages. And
That seems to be the magic price of $20 a page, right? Okay, so what do we currently pay for that service? Is that
yeah,
we're working on a 2-page ordinance tonight. That would when Stephanie sends it into your emails it that would
correct.
Integrates it into the database. And then, but there's no conflict check done at that time?
No, we do not, because we had already codified it, so we're just supplementing it at that point.
And what's who owns the copyright on
He does.
Who's the copyright?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With our company, the city owns the copyright.
I mean, there's no copyrightable contribution by the legal, right?
Well, we wouldn't want the city to start their own codification firm using our format.
Well, we're learning from a good teacher. Okay, what's the subscription service?
That's it's only usually for larger municipalities nowadays because everybody puts it online. So we do New York City, we do Los Angeles, like I said, Louisville, Jefferson County, Metro. So some of those have a subscription service where their citizens or members of the community buy it. And then we set the price with you, and then if there's any money made, then it goes back to you to pay towards supplements, or we can write you a check.
And so you're saying with the pamphlets, like if we wanted to just print up our pamphlets of the one particular animal control section that you're talking about there?
Correct. If you want, you can do it yourself. We're giving it back to you in Word. We can also give it to you in PDF, and you could go to a local printer and print it yourself. You can also print it off our website for free as well.
And so the web-based search engine and retrieval, that's all built in?
That is additional. So it's 650 more. So it's the 13 plus the 650. That's we have to rebuild the entire code when we finish it.
So you re-index it
and put it online and make it searchable.
Do that now when she sends you an ordinance? That just kind of built in, okay.
Yeah, but it'll have to be rebuilt when we go through this whole thing.
Annual updates are not really necessary if we do them as it happens, right?
Correct.
Put on the web storage, so we pay $500 a year for you all to host it.
And you're doing that now. So basically, that's not. I put that in there, but it's not. It just comes up every year. So you do not need to initial off on that because you already have it.
What's the advanced legal service, a legislative service? What's that about?
As you pass ordinances, we will list them on the website and basically say in a PDF and show the ordinance. So that's what the advanced legislative. So they'll have a list of the year, let's say 2021, and it'll list all your ordinances until you update. Once you update, that list comes down because they are now codified into the book.
And each ordinance that you look at, will it then have a legislative history date added to the end of it? Okay. So it will just say like reviewed or updated?
It'll say, if it's a supplement, it'll say, let's say ordinance 15-2001, and then you made a change this year, 1-2021, so it'll say AMD, amended ORD. So it'll have the original and then the amendment. Good questions.
The new ordinance notification?
Basically, we're in the section heading of where the ordinance is going to change. We will make a banner, and it'll say, "Hey, citizens, new ordinance went in here." The comprehensive ordinance is the one I suggest. It is the most expensive. It's $15. Is it? Oh, it's only $10. I gave you guys a discount.
$10 per ordinance.
Yes, I gave you a discount. So.
Okay. What's that do?
Basically, we scan in the ordinance, we list it by year, and then we can link it to the actual section. So 10 years from now, you're at the meeting like this, you're like, well, what was the original ordinance? Click, and it'll pull up the original ordinance and all the amendments.
Oh, it's a history. Okay, thank you.
Do you require a down payment to get started, or do you start and then expect a little bit of money out of us later date? How's that work?
After being at this meeting tonight, you don't have to pay us anything right now. We'll send you a bill. So
I might take the 2-year payments, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, typically what we do is if you sign the agreement, approve it, we'll send you an invoice for the first 40, or you can wait until we get the draft done and then do 50% then and then 50% due in the next fiscal year, or we can break it up too. I mean,
Okay.
Like I said, I'm one of the owners, so we'll work with you.
Yes, sir. Any other council person have any further questions for Mr. Fromeyer? I think what I'm hearing, the ordinance committee's been dealing with this not only during this time period, but maybe previous administrations about this same matter. So how much more does the city county council wish to know about this subject, or are you familiar with it enough you'd like to go ahead and move on it tonight?
I'd like to move on it tonight. It's been 25 years. It needs to get done. I think we need to get it jumpstart. We've done 2 or 3 hours of ordinance meetings, and we're still fumbling through 50 pages trying to figure out which ordinance trumps what. Does this mess up with?
You can enter your microphone, please, so we can get you.
It off even. I'm sorry. I think we need to jump on this and get it started now. It's been 25 years since this has been done. We need to push the go button.
Okay. Is that, you going to make that in form of a motion?
I absolutely can. I make a motion to approve the contract with American Legal for the recodification proposal that was presented to us tonight.
Okay. Would there be a second to that motion? Okay, motion by Leslie, second by Debbie Pollard. Any council discussion on the motion before the council at this time?
Yes, I've been patiently waiting. So 5260, I'm just bringing this up. You can only go off of what has been submitted to you, correct? You can't go off of something that we voted on 5 years ago, and for some reason it just showed up in the last couple months or something. I mean, we had a debate in October of last year about a 7%, and that was not correct. We voted in 2015 to make it 5%, but unless it's submitted to you, it's not going to show up in your review, correct?
You're right, and that I mean, I've been there 26 years. It happens a lot where and that's why I suggest that you update instantly so you can get an email quickly, ding. Okay, where's that other ordinance?
Agreed.
You keep lists of all of our ordinances that are sent to us, and it's unfortunate. There's a lot that do get missed like that.
I feel like we spend a lot of time talking and voting on something, and then years later we talk about the same thing and pass the same thing. So
A comprehensive ordinance list, that will help that as well. You can just go and look it up. It is a night. That's the one I mean, there's a lot of those are just things you can do, but that is, to me, that's the one that it'll benefit cities, not only now, but into the future. It'll benefit immensely.
Rich, I had one more question. Let's just say this took 6 months and we're saying January of 2022 and you're finished. Are you going to be finished up until that day in January with what we've passed?
We will. That's a good question. So we will actually give you a cutoff. Our attorney, once they submit the legal review and the draft to you, they'll keep following up. And then once you say, okay, we're okay with everything, we're ready to finish, then you submit any additional ordinances at that time, and we will have it as up to date as possible.
Month, we would just do that after we pass something?
And then you'll just continue to pay it. We just keep asking you to pay us. Now, there will be a little lag because it'll take us 1 to 3 months to finish. Once we finish, you approve that. You might have passed ordinances in that 2 months, but we'll get those up in the first supplement once you adopt that code. Good question. You guys have some good questions. Like, I don't get many questions, so. Okay.
Okay, any further questions, Mr. Fromeyer? At this time, we have a motion, a second, to go ahead and approve a base bid price of $13,000. I guess any additional charges, sir, would have to eventually be reapproved by the city council to add on to that. Okay. So, any further questions? If not, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, passes 8-0. So I guess as you begin to go back to your office and begin to work, please stay in touch with Stephanie, Beach, City Attorney, what you need. You live where? Do you live in the state of Kentucky?
Live in Alexandria, Kentucky, went to the University of Kentucky, and just got an email or a text message from my wife, so I'm very giddy about this. So she is going to run for state senate in the 24th District of Kentucky. Will Schroeder is retiring, and she's going to run. So I know with you all on council, she's never done anything like this before, so it'll be very interesting. To say the least.
Who was your father?
Richard Fromeyer.
A state senator or somewhere? Or
No, he wasn't.
Where do I know that name from?
There's a lot of us up in Alexandria, so in Campbell County. There's a lot of Fromeyers, yeah.
Okay. Well,
thank you all for having me.
Thank you for coming. Sorry about the delay, but we just want you to hear part of the city council meeting. Okay.
I've been to a lot of these, and this wasn't the longest. I had one that went 3.5 hours. So, but I appreciate it.
We may get hung up on something and be here that long too. We don't know.
I'm going to Taylorsville Lake. So.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Okay.
For your patience.
Hey, let's move ahead, everyone. Let's go to item 13, RFH CPAs Consultants, Renewed Services for Fiscal Year. That should say July 2021 to June 30th, 2022, everyone. So that's a grammatical error. But basically, what you have in your pockets, you have a contract with the same auditing company we've been using. I feel very good about this company, primarily because they're very familiar with Heather and Stephanie Cooper. Kevin Fisher works very closely with them throughout the year to try to deal with city budgeting and city auditing. Their contract last year, everyone, was $23,400. This year it's $23,900. So I guess a $500 increase over 1 year is not bad this day and time. So I asked the council they would to go ahead and approve this contractual agreement with RFH so we could notify them that they will be doing this year's audit for us and get started on it soon. Anyone willing to make the motion to do that?
A motion that we keep RFH consultants for our.
A motion been made by Debbie Pollard. Would there be a second to that?
I'll second that, Jeff.
Bill Lamline, any further discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I think we've dealt with 14, dealt with 15. Now we're on to 16. Yes, sir, ma'am. Okay, y'all need a restroom break? Okay, how about 5 minutes? Let's go, let's have a recess for 5 minutes. Okay? Good. let's go ahead and restart again and get on out of here as soon as we can, y'all. So um, let's go ahead and go to item 16. And tonight we have Corey here with us, and Chief, and Tim Curtis, and anyone else possibly from city department. So, how you doing tonight, Corey? Good.
Well,
What'd you like to speak to tonight?
everyone. Just a couple of updates we got. Still moving along with Fifth Avenue project. 150 feet to go on some of the curb and gutter, and then of course a little bit of a concrete pad to pour. We're going to contract that out, but we aim to be paving that mid-August, as long as we fall on schedule. Of course, the sewer break at City Hall kind of put us a little bit behind on a lot of our stuff, but it happens. We started what I call the I-71 corridor project. I know Trey's been asking about that. We got the bush mower on the skid loader. Most of the sections aren't too bad. It's pretty straightforward. The one in front of the Stockyards Bank, it's a lot steeper grade than we anticipated, so it's going to be a little problematic getting some of the bigger brush out, but shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully spice up that area a little bit, because it's definitely been an eyesore.
It's looking much better already. I mean, just what's been done, and finally got that permit to let us to get in that area. So that's a big improvement right there.
Can I ask you a question about that? How far are you able to go? Like, so if you're going southbound on 71, I haven't been there since you guys started doing some stuff, but you really don't notice LaGrange until you're like, oh, there it is.
Unfortunately, on the inside lanes, we can't go in there at all. We're not allowed to cross the entrance ramps with equipment. We can get the outskirts.
Yeah, the outer side. So you could see like the Cracker Barrel sign in one of the hotels, but after that, you don't. You see the the billboards or whatever. You don't really see the city at all. I'm not saying take down all the trees. I like trees, but maybe are we able to?
Mostly right now, there's a lot of vegetation, or a lot of brushy vegetation up towards, in front of Stockers is the worst spot.
Yeah.
We can take anything down 4 inches or smaller. Everything bigger, we're gonna have to, which is only a few trees, but there's, as far as coming back further, you can go as far back as pretty much where their fence is, and it gets pretty heavily wooded right there. But we're trying to just knock everything down that's existing. So I don't know. Maybe we could go out there and look at it. Give me what you think as far as how far to go. But we're pretty well open all the way as long as we stay on that side. Of course, we can't go a mile on the road or anything. Hopefully, we'll have that elect here soon. So give me a shout this week sometime out there. We made a good repair on the gazebo at Walsh Park. It was falling apart, new shingles, pressure washed it, stained it. So swing by, take a peek. Looks pretty good. We removed the Chlorine Duncan. Had been asking us for a while about some steps. I thought Beach was going to go over there and do it himself. But we finally got that out. We ripped them out. We anticipate to kind of take it around the curve. The problem's the grade of the street, and where putting a sidewalk back is just not possible. We've got to follow new ADA guidelines. So near future, we'll get the sidewalk back in, so people traveling down East 146 or East Jefferson Street can cross in front of the old library and Chlorine Duncan. It's going to have to kind of come down around the curve, so the crosswalk will kind of step back, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. We're allowed to follow the grade of the existing street. Outside of that, you can't go over 10%. So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So hopefully sooner rather than later. We edge keyed for speed humps last week. We're actually going to be putting them in tomorrow on Hoffman, Duncan, and 2 on 3rd Street. So people have been asking.
There's a lady, I spoke to you about this, Corey. There's a lady on Flora Avenue she needs to be talked to, I guess. She was asking for a speed hump there. We don't have any, but she was adamant about trying to get one there. So her first name's Renee. Her last name doesn't come to me, but it's the same lady that I had asked Stephanie Winter to go down and talk to about a water issue in a yard. So her first name's Renee, and she's the same lady who would like to maybe think about getting a petition started to get one of those on Clover Avenue as well.
Right.
So
You can swing by our shop or City Hall, or it's on the website. Download and gives you all the instructions, start to finish. Of course, we had this City Hall sewer repair, which we already discussed that briefly. That was a big ordeal. Knocked us back on quite a few projects. I'm going to be going out to Artisan Park. We're trying to move forward and get that thing paved this year. A lot of the residents have been asking. The roads are actually in still pretty good shape for as long as it's been sitting. So we'll get an estimate from in-place paving we can get on with the state contract to just get an idea of how much it's going to cost. So they're looking to take it on in-house and get it done. So outside of that,
now, when you're talking about that, though, you're talking about overseeing and getting it done, but they're going to be paying for it individually. Okay.
yeah. So I'm trying to push the ball for them. I know Beach spoke with the lady on the HOA. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Yeah. So I've heard a lot of feedback on the sidewalk in front of this building and on the side, on the 53 side. The city of LaGrange has nothing to do with that, correct?
No, we don't have a dollar in that. So
I wanted to read that or hear that in the record because I've heard a lot of, why are you tearing out a perfectly good sidewalk? There were parts of it that needed some attention, mainly in front of my opinion, the church area.
yeah, I wouldn't say it was a perfectly good sidewalk by any means, but especially out in front of Fiscal Court building, it held water and there was no end. When they put in the new three-phase service to this building, I guess KU or whoever at the time, they bored right through the line, so there was nowhere to take the water in. So it would leach out into the gravel where they put it in, but outside of that, it was an ongoing headache. I know. I'm sure the clerk's office would be very appreciative of that.
I have a question. I know that they're going to be rolling out some stuff about the alleys project on Oldham County Day, and we have some budget money for paving. Do you have an idea on when that might happen? And
We can slide that in anytime, really. We're going to do a small pave over the summer, and then of course we'll have fall paving. So that's pretty minor, so we can slide it in. Yeah.
We want to do, actually, Andrea, it's a little bit more than just paving it. We want to use some of the stormwater money to do some pavers back in there in conjunction with some paving where it's just not a solid piece of blacktop. So that's something that we're discussing, but Corey wants to do it in a way that we can make it all work out right, certainly with the pavers going in involved with the somehow design with the blacktop itself.
Try to dress it up, rather than, like I said, just plain asphalt, which we anticipate will invert the alley anyway to help with drainage.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have anything for Corey at this time? Otherwise,
Hey Corey, what about the large item pickup? Are we doing that again yet, or do you know when the large item pickup, is that something that started back yet?
Oh, we did of course, this cleanup in the spring, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, large pickup, like say, I thought you were talking about the city cleanup.
Oh, the large item pickup.
All in advance. You have to call; they won't pick.
That
up.
is usually. Is it once a month or any time? Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
A positive on that might have to call.
okay. Thank you, Corey. So, for what you're doing, Chief Collette.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'll bring up first our monthly activities for June. That would be our dispatch runs and our incidents that the officers call out with. 495 total activity pieces, with the top 5 being traffic stops and requests for call by phone for officers to call citizens and check situations, and also requests to meet officers are still holding steady, as well as burglar alarms. Now that we're in the new budget, we've started cycling through for our large purchase items. Police vehicles, just like in the civilian market, are going to be an issue upcoming. We were given a little bit of forewarning due to the chip and part shortages. We were lucky with our dealer. They actually had 2 that met our specs and were our fleet color, which they held on to them for us until we got into the new budget cycle. We've signed the work order, and that same dealership has a subsidiary company inside of it that will do our upfitting and equip all the cars and put our decals through. They'll be turnkey when they get here in about 5 to 7 weeks. So the state contract bidder had warned us on factory orders and state contract that timelines were not going to be given this year. So we felt lucky in that respect. Oldham County Day planning's been ongoing and evolving with Project Guild for the last couple weeks, and we've been involved with the other law enforcement agencies. So everyone knows the parade route will be a little alternative this year. It will still begin at Immaculate Conception, enter Jefferson Street from 5th Street, run eastbound. The turn will be on 1st Street from Jefferson in a southbound direction. What we've agreed to do with Project Guild and Judge Wheeler, parade viewing in effect ends at City Place. Then we'll have officers in place trying to flush the parade units and participants down 53 in a faster manner to keep the flow going. Of course, the ultimate demise of that will be if there's not a CSX stoppage. So if there is a CSX train, we just go static and it sits until then. Hopefully it will not happen. Project Guild was notified late last week. The courthouse lawn will be available for booth postings. The fencing will not be up, so it'll be back to the traditional setup. According to Project Guild, what they've informed me, that the bulk of the booths will be back on the courthouse lawn with some spread of booths on the Main Street corridor. But before, it looked like we were going to have to do Main and Walnut real heavy, but this will bring everything in the core of activities back up onto the courthouse lawn. With some activities, I think some of the food trucks and some other vendors may be in the City Place area. And for our booth, I'll borrow the projector. We should be on Main Street in front of our PD building. This year, we're going to try to make available to the public until the supplies last, the self kits for parents to fill out on their own and obtain dental records for their children. And it also has an area in there for DNA strands for their hair. In case we have a lost persons thing, it's an immediate record that they keep on their person. They can even take them on trips or vacations to have that information available should they need it there. But it's a handy item in a time of crisis like that. It's sort of a little difficult to get information from family involved, and I has blocks in there also for photographs to allow their dentist to fill in some more dental paperwork as well and put up any kind of medical information that be. And that same company is now offering a similar kit for senior citizens at risk of wandering or have diminished mental capacity. We're going to supply those. That we do have those incidents quite a bit. And it seems to be more and more, and of course emergency management works out with this, and that would be also a great aid to have. And we'll have some other promotional items there. And like I said, we should be on Main Street in front of the police department. I invite the public to come by, see us, and get to know our officers.
Well, thank you, Greg. City Council, Greg Collette, I've known him for a long time. He's a man of few words. He keeps his composure. He doesn't get excited, and he doesn't even like this. He didn't like this exposure to the point. Greg just does his job and glad to sit back down as soon as he can get back down. Okay, that's where Greg is. But anyway, gets that from his mom and daddy. But anyway, I know them well. But anyone have any questions for Greg? Thank you as well, Greg, for what you're doing. I think our police department looks good. I think the guys are friendly. Ladies, everyone's nice to the public, I hope. If anyone has any different opinion, please let us know. But I think Greg stresses that. We want them speaking to the public and just taking care of business, and that's what they're doing. So if no one has any other questions, comments for Greg, I'll let him get back to his seat.
Appreciate him keeping the city council involved in incidents or something that needs to be done. So before it gets to social media and then we get to hearing it. So I appreciate it too.
You can spin a situation very quickly, and if you hear of an event that you're wondering about, maybe I haven't put anything out, please reach out to me, because if you're hearing about it, it may mean I haven't heard about it, and I want to know about it just as well. Help inform what the true nature of the situation may be. You're never bothering me. Y'all reach out to me. Y'all are very cooperative and help us out. And obviously, the agency has made gains with your help. So anything I can do for you, you let me know.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Last but not least, Tim Curtis.
I have a few more words, I think. I'll be brief. Just a few things we got coming up. We have a co-ed volleyball league, starts this upcoming Sunday night. We have open gym, back started in the gym, so it's really good to see the masks off, y'all. Things are starting to liven back up in the city. It's awesome.
What'd you just say about a co-ed league? What'd you just say? I missed that.
League starts this upcoming Sunday night.
Night? Yep. Okay. What time? We're at the City Hall Gymnasium?
Right.
Okay. Downtown, the downtown gymnasium, huh?
Before I actually start on this list of things, I just want to say, first of all, thanks to the mayor and for the city council for giving me the opportunity to get back in and do some parks and recreation work. It's my first love and what my degree's in, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that for the city, and it's been fun for me, and so I'm just grateful for that opportunity. So,
wait a minute, hold on. We got city volleyball starting Sunday night. At what time you say?
League, you have to have a team signed up. You can't just show up. It's not open play. So we got registration forms available. You can get them online, or you can stop by the city hall and pick up registration forms.
Are there Sunday night, for example?
6:30, 7:30, 8:30, and 9:30.
Right, yep. 4 different hours, huh?
Yep. So it's going to be a good full league. So that's a positive thing. Okay. Also, I've written up some proposed rates for community center rental. The old rates were probably not quite where they needed to be, so I've written that up just based upon what I've looked at through some other facilities and what seems like a good rate for us to offer here, and also written up a proposed job description for a building monitor, which was mentioned at our last meeting, that we're going to probably need as we increase things going on at the community center. We're going to need somebody to be there during these events, and so I actually already emailed those out to the Parks Committee members for us to take a look at the next Parks Committee meeting. Next thing, we have another trivia night coming up. We did that online before. We're going to do that again on the 15th, which is next Thursday night. And I have a meeting tomorrow morning with our website person to look at an upgrade for the city website. I believe it's due for an upgrade. So I'm going to throw some ideas out there, and me and Becca are going to meet with them and sort of see what they come back with as far as cost and some things like that to make an upgrade. It's a little bit overdue. And also, I met with Eagle Scout recently about building some benches for the Glen. So Eagle Scout projects are always good to take on, seeing how there's no expense to us, and also it's good exposure, and a good project for them can benefit our citizens as well. We have a golf clinic that's scheduled to start next week at Eagle Creek. That is on Monday evenings, taught by a former player at Oldham County, Maddie Mason, that I've used before to teach golf clinics when I worked for the county. She does a great job, so she'll be teaching that golf clinic. Also, on my birthday, which was June 8th, that was my 39th, I met with some folks from Fish and Wildlife. 39th birthday, just so you know. Met with some folks from Fish and Wildlife who were at Eagle Creek, and they also went to Wilburn, and they were checking the fish population to give us a plan for what they might want to do there for formulating a plan for stocking and recreational fishing in both of those lakes. The great deal about Fish and Wildlife is it is no cost to us. So they were actually stocking that day at Wilburn, but also looking at what we might need at the pond there at Eagle Creek. And also, I'm getting 3 quotes for a swing upgrade at Wilburn Park. The current swing set is in need of a little bit of an upgrade, so I'm trying to get some quotes for some playground companies. I've already got a couple of those in to try to get an upgrade on that. And that's what I've got right now. And also, I'm on a contract basis, as you all know. It was a 5-month contract, and it does end at the end of this month, the end of July. So I just appreciate the opportunity to do the work here for y'all, and hope you've been okay with what I've gotten done. So that's about it.
I have a quick question about the golf clinic. I've been seeing the sign for it. Do you need your own equipment? How does that work?
Do not provide any clubs, but really they don't need a lot of clubs. It's for young kids. They will need a putter. They'll need something for a little bit of chipping and iron and some sort of a wood. So if you have 4 clubs, that will get it done, just to kind of teach the basics, and that'll be done on the putting green. We'll also do the putting and chipping on the putting green, but then off to the side where there's like a pavilion or picnic shelter off to the side of the pond over there. There's an open space, and the last 2 weeks the clinic will be hitting into a net over there, so we'll purchase some nets to get people to hit into over there, because there's no driving range to use for that at Eagle Creek. So.
Okay, that's a good report, Tim. Anybody have any questions or further comments for Tim Curtis at this time? He's seems to be around, coming in and out, going here and there, and trying to create some activity across the board in our parks. I really wish that we could make something better or more inviting at the Glen. You know, we got a Glen Park over here, but I just don't hear much involvement over there. But it's acreage set aside in the city, but maybe the Parks Committee could look at that and see perhaps what could we be doing there that's innovative thinking for a city. What could we create there that actually we could get some more usefulness out of that park itself? I don't know if anybody has any opinions on that, but
Dog park.
Well, you say dog park, but that's for the Parks Committee to at least discuss, okay? So anyway.
When I was there the other day meeting the Eagle Scout there were some people fishing, a couple of families fishing there, and so it's a nice little park, but it has a lot of potential, walking path and areas for fishing.
Okay.
So a couple new benches will be helpful there as well.
Piers.
That's a great idea, a very good possibility.
What's that?
Fishing pier or something there. Otherwise, it's all bank fishing, and some of that's not that easily accessible, so maybe just a small pier would be nice.
Okay. All right.
A lot nicer without the old barn there. Yes. And I see more people.
It's much cleaner
down there, so.
Sure does. Thank Corey and his guys for taking that barn out of there for us. Okay, Tim, thank you so much. See you soon, okay? Stephanie Winther, do you have anything you'd like to bring to the council tonight about any matter within your area? No? Okay. All right. All right, let's go to 17, folks. 3 minutes, 2 minutes till 9. Parks Committee report. Mr. Joe Davenport.
Parks Committee met Wednesday, June the 9th. We met at Community Center. We had the mayor arranged a representative from American Ramp Company. They were on Zoom. They made a presentation of skate park, different. They showed videos of different configuration. Yeah, thank you, Beach, of skate parks. It was very interesting, and so that's where we started our meeting, and a lot of good questions, a lot of feedback from them on Zoom, and very informative, I thought, on that. So always depend on Trey, and he's always there to take notes. So Trey, have you got anything that we covered after the skate park? Did we discuss a few other items, didn't we, on
Just a little bit. You covered a lot of the stuff. I know when we usually talk about skate park, we talk about the existing one, but as far as his renditions go, he did show something similar to that, but some poured concrete options. I had a note that about a 4,000 square foot skate park would cost about $200,000 estimate. He did say in general the lifespan of a skate park is about 20 years. But he had a lot of kind of mixed use dual-purpose skate park options, like you said. And then just in the interest of time, we did discuss a little bit about Eagle Creek Golf Course, about their board and how they're taking a look at their bylaws. So yeah, you covered I think those are the highlights.
Right. Any other park board members, Debbie, Elsie, y'all got anything you bring forward? Okay. I usually go to the Eagle Creek meeting, and I had a doctor's appointment, so I missed the meeting on June the 30th. I'm sure the mayor was in attendance. I didn't know if there's anything on there, Mayor, that, I mean, I've got the agenda, so I know
No,
they had the fish, they discussed, was on the agenda about the stocking the fish, so I heard from Tim on that tonight, so that's covered.
okay. When's your next Parks Board meeting?
Parks Committee,
Meeting.
the 14th. It's always the second Wednesday, so it'll be the 14th at 5 o'clock.
To meet at any specific park, if weather permitting, Joe?
We might try. I think we might go to Walsh Park on the 14th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we're on after we mentioned Eagle Creek too, I had the opportunity to meet a gentleman over at Jeffersonville at Bachman Group, and he found out I was from Grange, and him and a bunch of friends actually come to Eagle Creek and play golf, and he really had good compliments on Eagle Creek about the condition of the course, and he said they play a lot. They even play at Oldham County Country Club too, but they're just a bunch of friends, and they go around and play golf, and he really likes Eagle Creek and talked about how good the course was and how friendly they were at the office. He said it's just, and of course he complimented on the carts, the new carts, and he talked just like everybody else. He talked about how comfortable the seats are, so I just thought I'd let you know that was good feedback from somebody over in Jeffersonville.
Appreciate it, Joe, and appreciate your leading that Parks Committee, and we'll be ready for your next meeting on the 14th at 5 p.m. at Walsh Park, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, Trey Kamer, Budget Committee Chair, would like to speak tonight.
We met on June 23rd, 6 o'clock, and so it was Bill, Elsie, John, Chief, Heather Hottenroth, and myself. We did discuss the CARES funds a little bit more in depth, so just to keep everybody... the first thing we talked about, the American Red Cross returned their $7,500. Oldham County Red Cross returned their $7,500 from the funds that we had sent them. We did talk about the Humane Society, heard from them, and they were thankful for the funds that we'd appropriated for them for the CARES money. So leading into that, we did talk about there was $644,000 that was unrestricted. There was $208,000 that had stipulations, and then there is a third wave. The total amount is $2.3 million. We should receive it in 2 installments. Part of the discussion was that if we budgeted it, we would have until 2026 to spend the entire amount, or if we did not budget it, it would be end of 2024. At the time of the meeting, there wasn't any rules or regulations provided on stipulations for that round. But we did have a lot of good discussion about So it was kind of a lead-in or from the presentation that a lot of folks spoke in favor of last month. So we just continued more conversation on that presentation. There's a lot of good ideas thrown around. Just in the interest of time, I'm not going to cover them all because we didn't officially say, yeah, we'll bring it back up, but I think we're going to continue that conversation probably into this month, and kind of go from there. That's kind of those are the highlights. I don't know if any committee member would like to add anything to it, but please do so.
Yes. This evening I did hand everybody a handout from High Point. They're requesting more funding from the CARES Act, and you should have that. And hopefully we can put that on our agenda for this upcoming budget meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Trey, for your report. Anyone else from the Budget Committee wish to speak either or about anything you'd like to bring up at this moment? If not, we'll move on. Trey, are you finished?
Sorry, I forgot to say this. So we'll meet on July 28th at 6 o'clock at City Hall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is it 5?
6 o'clock. Yep.
Okay, Jason Taylor, you'd like to speak on behalf of the Ordinance Committee as chair?
Sure. Thanks, Mayor. We met on June 29th. I was there. Stephanie Winther, Chief Collette, Beach was there, and Leslie and Andrea, as well as myself. And Trey was also in attendance in the audience as our only audience member, I guess. We discussed the billboard truck issue that briefly came up last week. That's now been resolved. We discussed the Grange Ordinance Committee. LaGrange Utilities Committee ordinance that was on the agenda tonight. We discussed the AM legal proposal that was on the agenda tonight, as we've already talked about both of those. We had a general discussion regarding food truck business license tax and the discrepancy between that amount and the amount of the regular business license tax. Just kind of had a general discussion, nothing really done on that or proposed at this point. Items we spent the most time on probably last month were the continued discussion of signs, specifically murals and the definition of murals, and we anticipate spending most of our July ordinance meeting on this issue and perhaps even having something for the council to take a look at in the near future. Our next meeting is Tuesday, July 27th at 7 p.m. And then we also had a brief discussion on the business license tax in general, specifically its definition of the word business, which is any enterprise, activity, trade, occupation, profession, or undertaking of any nature conducted for gain or profit in the city of LaGrange. Issue came up, Andrea actually brought something up regarding someone babysitting and who potentially could be cited for a violation of the business license, not having a business license. So, that issue, we talked about children's lemonade stands being potentially at risk, truthfully, with this particular language. So the language seems very broad, and we're looking at some possible fixes to, get it back where I think the spirit of the ordinance and the definition was probably meant to be. But we didn't take any action. We just had some general discussions, and certainly welcome any feedback from the council on any of these issues. That's all we have. And again, it's July 27th, our next ordinance committee meeting at 7 p.m.
I tell you what, if we get to the point we charge kids to sell lemonade and charge them compensation tax, I'm going to be raising all kinds of heck. So hopefully, I hope we're not going down that path, Jason. Are we? We are? Oh, okay.
Say that was an issue brought to my attention, and the woman in question was planning to be here tonight to address the full council, but she has viral pneumonia. So she is planning to come to the next meeting and, you know,
What?
address in public comment, you know, the issue that came up, and just to speak to it in a general sense of, you know, Stephanie's doing her job. And
Issue came up.
What?
she was, there was an anonymous call made to Stephanie saying that there was an in-home daycare being run out of her home. Neighbor issue, something like that. She does not have enough children to qualify as an in-home daycare. She watches 2 of her neighbor's children for, I don't know for how much, but Stephanie had to address it because she got a complaint and charge her a City of Grange business license. And this is someone who basically babysits. So we are questioning where you draw the line as far as requiring someone to have a business license in the city. Stephanie's in a tough spot because she received a complaint, and this person is operating.
Licensed by the state of Kentucky?
No, she's a business. She's a babysitter. So
if you advertise that you want more babies, then you're a business. I think if you don't advertise you want more business, it's a neighbor or something, it's a limited amount, I don't think you ought to have to have one.
One thing I did check into was the zoning regulations also for a residential neighborhood like that. And based on the zoning requirements, if she's only babysitting 2 kids, she doesn't have to have a conditional use permit. But I think it's if she has 4 or more, then she'd actually have to go get a conditional use permit to run an in-home daycare. So I mean, the county looks at it also as if it is a business that's being run. But again, it's the wording of it, it's the interpretation, it's a lot of pieces that we talked about.
well, and it's like, do you qualify? You know, right now, Jason said the definition of a business, as we have on hand, is anyone operating anything for profit. Do we make that more specific and say if they advertise for it, or if they need insurance for it, or, you know, there are a lot of ways you could define a business. But in the broadest sense, you could charge a child's lemonade stand as a profit business.
Got the 14-year-old boy who I can't find to cut my grass. Is he a business?
Under the law. Under the current ordinance, you could say it that way, yes.
What does he do?
Second Wednesday, the 14th.
Under our current ordinance, all of that qualifies as a business. And I invited this constituent to speak, just to talk to the full council on, do you want us as an ordinance committee to go back to the books and make this more specific?
Did you give $5 to bring your garbage can in? Has to have a business license.
Thanks.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm the code enforcement officer. I'm not the code writer officer. So yeah, that's your guys' job. So
put it out there because we all need to look at it.
Right. Yeah.
I complained about her.
Complaint because of the traffic, because of the cars coming and going in the morning and in the afternoon, which is a big complaint for at-home businesses. You know, and I get that a lot for other at-home businesses too.
Accessible for a home occupation permit.
Do what?
Can't have that much traffic till you have a home occupation permit.
Right, which is why I talked to
County thing.
County thing, right.
Traffic is it? 2 cars. My kids have more than that going back and forth just being kids.
Well, anyway, we need to be careful on some of this stuff, or else whatever. So anyway, we need to talk about it. Okay. Well, thank you, Stephanie, and I was just hoping we were not charging for lemonade stands yet. So anyway, okay, we got that finished. Public comment. Anyone else after listening to all this tonight want to come up and say something about anything? Anyone wishing to? If not, welcome to. All right, let's go to 19. Anybody want to bring up any new business for the night?
I have something.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to, the city of LaGrange donate enough money to replace that microphone.
Which one?
This one.
The one right there.
I think it's been done, Bill. I mean, our Jay guy, he's Jay McDowell. I guess he's still around here. Is he still here, Stephanie, or are we shutting it down? But they redid all these microphones, that one there as well. It's something about someone not standing up to it and getting close to it and speaking at it. They just hesitate to do it, and thus you don't hear them back there.
I don't know a lot about the entertainment business, but I'm sure there are microphones that work better than that one.
Brother.
I have to stick it in your mouth to speak.
Jay, if you're in the building, come and show us how to use this microphone, please. So anyway, all right, we have new business. Anyone new business? Anything you want to bring up new? Bill brought up his subject. Anyone else have anything? Anyone want to bring up any unfinished business? Anyone? Okay. Anyone want to make an announcement on anything you'd like to announce to the citizens of the city of LaGrange or elsewhere?
The piano's still lonesome.
Okay. Elsie's piano is still lonesome. Anything else? Anybody want to make an announcements? I have a few announcements. I'd just like to make sure the council's aware of. As we sign the contract with the company to begin to build Springs Park, Corey and his guys will begin to disassemble things at the site today. I'm sure disassembling will amount to the skateboard park, skateboard feature there. I guess it will go to someplace down in Corey's compound to be put there, unless someone comes up with an adequate place prior to him dismantling it. I, to this point, have not found a place that I can convince anybody to take it to. If anyone has anything between now and when he does it, please let us know. So that's the skateboard park, okay?
And what are you going to do about the skateboarding on the sidewalk?
Know about that. Well, the chief allowed to deal with that, and Stephanie went there, telling the kids and skateboarders where they can be and where they can't. Okay?
Listen to me.
Excuse me?
You don't listen to me. I've been telling them.
Okay.
And skateboards.
Now, with the skateboard park gone, we will be finding them places that we probably prefer they not be. Someone spoke about the alley project tonight. There is going to be a unveiling of a pop-up shop in their alley, between Poplar Alley, between Walnut and Jefferson. No, First Street on Oldham County Day. The alley committee has put together somewhat of an advertising little budget to try to showcase and entice people to come into the alley to see what this whole idea is about. This city council, you all appropriated an amount of $50,000 in this next fiscal year for them to try to begin to do some things that they think is important to make sure this alley does what it's supposed to do. Fifth Street, Artisan Park. Corey he failed to mention this, but he's building a nice wall at City Hall between the multi-purpose room and the gymnasium. We were going to put barn doors there just hanging, swinging freely, but we felt as time goes on, we're going to try to, it's looking very nice, but we're going to try to make each room, the gymnasium being one, the multi-purpose room being one, where they have an insulated voice insulation wall there with two sets of double doors that open, either stay open looking out into the gym or stay closed to have the Rotary meeting there while somebody's doing something, playing pickleball in the gymnasium. So we chose to go that route. So that's being done. So that's a nice wall going there. We talk about money. The good news, council, is as we're plowing money in the Oldham Reserve, there will be a day in the future that this city will see the payoffs from Oldham Reserve. With land sales, we have trigger points in the contract that this council We'll see repays of land sales, just a number of different things. So as we're plowing money into the reserve, we will be getting that money back over time, over many years, and it will come back. That's like money in the bank. Basically, what we're going to have there, guys and ladies, is about 800 acres of land paid for that this city will see the dividends over time into the future as the future land sales are done. I'll tell you one key trigger point that's going to come up here. I was hoping to come this summer, this fall, but we're a little bit behind schedule. But when we decide and get the right-of-way for the new ramps to the Louis Dampier Bridge, which should come hopefully by year's end or first of the year, there's a $2.4 million trigger point. The city will get $1.2 million. The county get $1.2 million. So that's a trigger point at the 7 or 8 or 9 year mark of the reserve, and that's what our development partners will have to ante up. It's almost $2.5 million to be split evenly between the city and the county. Where'd Bill go? I thought he passed out. But anyway, that's a trigger point. So as we're plowing this money into sewers infrastructure, it's going to come back, folks, and city council, and certainly the representative from over the mayor, Andrew, that this money is going to be paid back continuously, year after year, over time, through compensation packs of where they last, but certainly the resale of 700 to 800 acres of land. So we're about finished with this debt out there, folks. We're about if we paid it off today, we'd pay off right at $1.8 to $1.9 million and be done with it. So that's how close we are. We could pay it off today, but with the way the situation's set up, if we paid it off and we didn't have the contacts, we could not continue to build infrastructure out there. So that's the reason we've got to sort of follow our amortization chart and go that route. So that's good news. The other good news we spoke about, we're going to get about $2.3 million coming to us in this Affordable Care Act money. I don't want to get just quick and start spending it. I want to make sure we think thoroughly about how we want to spend it, what can we spend it on legally, and try to do some things good for our city, for constituents, or for whatever the budget committee eventually decides how we want to spend this money. Is the promotion of our town through tourism, but that's another $2.3 million. Okay, so we've got that. I'm just reading some different things I want to remember here, folks. You're going to see 3 new city signs go up, I think, coming into our city from 3 different directions. Out here by Woodland Lakes, we have the signs bought. They're nice replicas of what we have already. Welcome to Grange. We're on track. They're really pretty. They're done. They're sitting in Corey's shop, and he just has not had time to get to them. But we have one going out here by Woodland Lakes. We got one coming in from North 53 up the hill, and I've got one at the city-county line on Commerce Parkway. As you come in the city on Commerce, at that back boundary line down there, to say, "Welcome to LaGrange. We're open for business," in quotes. I start changing that one up a little bit. I want to know people we're open for business on Commerce Parkway in Open Reserve. So when he gets some landscape, I think he's going to use cedar posts as the background. Does that sound right, Corey? The cedar posts with protruding them, and then he's going to landscape them beautifully, and that would be a good thing. I'm just trying to run some things. We have this apartment complex down on Commerce Parkway. We also have a daycare center and a big apartment complex, but I think there was a bill in your packet tonight for $2,200. That's where Corey and I are working with KU. They've got the 2 light posts up, but the lady who runs the daycare center plus the apartment complex said that cul-de-sac has been very dark, especially in the early morning hours when people are dropping off their kids at the daycare center. So I thought that was certainly a use for money because they are great tax-paying citizens, the apartment complex. But I think what we like to work on, everyone, is sort of like a lighting package done like we're doing down there in the cul-de-sac to move from the new Holiday Inn Express down to about where the cul-de-sac ends and try to begin to light up Commerce Parkway just a tad bit to sort of try to get some growth and development on that highway west of the new Holiday Inn Express. Friday night for Oldham County Day down here in the plaza with Grange Square. We're going to put up a stage. That's where our Friday night dance is going to be. It's starting at 7 or 7:15. The Allen Lane Band's going to play. We're going to have a LaGrange has talent show before that starts. So anybody's got talent, please show up and get in the talent show. You may win a prize. Y'all have talent? If you do, please register Rebecca to come down and get on the stage. We did it down there this year primarily because it's Oldham County Day. We're in a big parking lot. We have hometown pizza. We got Chinese. We got Mexican. We got a beverage shop that gets protein shakes. We got hometown pizza once again. We got Dairy Queen for ice cream. So we're going to try to have a big party down there and pack that lot on Friday night for Oldham County Day. We'll probably have a booth down there. So if y'all want to come and be a part of that, please show up down there. Are you with me? Tomorrow morning, Corey, his guy with the boom truck, the bucket truck, in conjunction with Oldham County bucket truck, going to be putting a banner over Highway 53 proclaiming Oldham County Day, and that's something Project Guild wanted us to do. City Parade for Oldham County Day. We'll be originating at the Catholic Church, I believe, down their parking lot about 9:30, 9:45. We're going to have the city golf cart in the parade, so anyone, if you all want to jump on the golf cart, jump on it. We're going to put the City of LaGrange Tourism on the cart. We're going to try to decorate up, so if you want to get in a golf cart and ride as 6 passengers, do that. We're going to have the city bus in the parade. Stephanie Cooper here is going to drive her Jeep, and we're going to have our banner. So anybody wants to be in a part of the Oldham County Day Parade, be down at the Catholic Church by 9:30 or so like that to be in our mix to do whatever you want to do. You wear your costumes or anything you want to do. See, I want to make sure I get everything because I want you all to know about what's going on. Allen Lane City Parade. Crystal Drive at McDonald's. That project's getting ready to begin. We're going to do a major intersection project there. It's already been approved by the state of Kentucky. We're going to do a dedicated left-hand turn lane to take you back to Cracker Barrel and Stockyards Bank. There will be no more cars coming at you and think you're going to get broadsided. When you're going south, you'll have a dedicated left green to hold that traffic, let you go through, and we'll have 2 lanes still yet going south. Will be Robinson right away off of Kentucky Fried Chicken and Champion Chevrolet, but that right away is already been acquired, so that project is already funded. It should be going this month, so it's ready to go. So I think a lot of people will be happy to hear that.
It won't back up 53 either, will it?
No, it won't back up through 53. We've got left-hand dedicated left and 2 lanes going south, so it basically have about 3 lanes through there. That's about it for me. I want to thank each of you all for what you do, who you talk to, what you do for the city. Just appreciate everybody. I appreciate the employees, what they do every day. I know I get a little bent out of shape every now and then, but it's okay. I
appreciate you, Mayor.
Fast and hard, and I don't know when to quit sometimes. But anyway, I enjoy it. Certainly, I always want to thank. You're Andrew, right? Aren't you Andrew? Excuse me. Last year, okay. But I want to thank you for coming to every city council meeting, staying with us, and if you ever have any questions of any of us, please don't hesitate to call us. Okay? Appreciate you calling. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's all from me. Does anyone have any final comments? Stephanie, you have anything tonight? Okay. Yes.
I know in the past we've had our Oldham Reserve Development partners come and give a little update. Are they planning to do that anytime soon?
As far as I'm concerned, they're behind time. But anyway, I attend every meeting. Joe attends every meeting. We push. Joe sort of keeps quiet. I push hard, Andrea. But I know if it wasn't for this city and this county and our input and influx of money to keep the project going, it'd be tough to be attracting anything for the future. But we are doing that. But yes, I'll tell you what, they will be here at the next meeting if perhaps I can convince them. But I think I can. So we meet this morning. We meet this Thursday at 8 a.m. If you'd like to come to that meeting, we'll meet in the room right next door here, okay? So you're always welcome to come. They always have a representative or two at that meeting, okay? So, but I can also get them here for an annual report. Anyone else have anything tonight? I know it's getting late. Otherwise, entertain a motion for adjournment. Made by Leslie, second by, who was that? Trey. Okay, Trey. Sorry, buddy. Any discussion on that? I'm sure there's not. All those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed to adjourning? Jason's opposed to adjourning.